U.S. Central Command announced it had just obliterated over 90 military targets on a tiny coral island in the Persian Gulf, a place most people couldn't find on a map. The island is called Kharg. It's barely 8 kilometers long. And for decades, every military strategist in the world agreed. If you knock out Kharg Island, you cripple Iran. But here's the thing. I think that idea is completely wrong, and what's happening right now proves it. So let me set the scene. Kharg Island sits 55 kilometers northwest of Bushehr, about 15 nautical miles off Iran's mainland coast. It is, without question, the financial spine of the Iranian regime. Nearly 950 million barrels of crude oil flow through its terminals every single year. That is 90% of Iran's total oil exports, loaded onto supertankers in deep-water berths that can handle the world's largest crude carriers. As one energy analyst put it, if you eliminate Kharg's infrastructure, you remove 2 million barrels per day from the global market indefinitely. That is why, on March 14th, when U.S. forces struck the island, markets froze. President Trump announced the strike himself, writing that the U.S. had totally obliterated every military target on Kharg while deliberately sparing the oil facilities, adding that he would immediately reconsider that decision if Iran kept blocking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. But here's where it gets tactically fascinating. The U.S. just destroyed Iran's missile bunkers, naval mine storage, and the Jushan naval base on Kharg. And Iran was still fighting, not just surviving, fighting. Why, let me know in the comments. Did you think taking Kharg Island would end this conflict? Because the answer is far more complicated than most people realize. To understand Iran's real strategy, I need you to look at a map. Specifically, at a narrow strip of water called the Strait of Hormuz. This choke point sits roughly 300 miles southeast of Kharg Island. At its narrowest point, it is only 21 miles wide. 2 inbound shipping lanes, 2 outbound, 1 separation zone. And through those lanes moves approximately 20 to 27% of the entire world's oil supply. Iran's northern coastline runs the entire length of this strait. That geography is not an accident of nature. It is a strategic inheritance that Iran has spent 4 decades weaponizing. The IRGC doesn't need to hold a single island to threaten global trade. It just needs to make the strait unusable, and for that, it has built a toolkit unlike anything we've seen in modern maritime warfare. Let me walk you through this. Because this is where the real naval story lives, and it's one I don't think any other channel is breaking down properly. First, the mines. According to a 2025 Defense Intelligence Agency assessment, Iran holds a stockpile of approximately 6,000 naval mines. By March 23, 2026, open-source intelligence confirmed deployment of at least a dozen Maham-3 and Maham-7 mines inside the strait, modern, sensor-equipped weapons designed to detect and target supertankers by their acoustic signature, magnetic field, or pressure wave. Even a few dozen mines in the right place can stop global shipping for weeks. One expert from the Center for Maritime Strategy put it plainly. Any ship can deploy a mine. A fishing boat can deploy a mine. It only takes a couple in the right place to utterly screw up an operation. Second, the submarines. Most people picture submarines as massive nuclear-powered vessels. Iran is playing a completely different game. At the core of its underwater threat is the Ghadir-class midget submarine. It is 29 meters long, weighs 120 tons, and is specifically designed for the shallow, noisy waters of the Persian Gulf. Ghadir-class boats can operate in water as shallow as 30 meters, which matches the average depth of the strait's main shipping channels exactly. They are armed with Valfajr 533mm torpedoes and potentially the Hoot, a supercavitating torpedo that can reach speeds of up to 200 knots underwater. Iran has deployed over 20 of these boats into the Gulf. Iran also operates the larger Fateh-class submarine at around 600 tons for deeper operations, plus Russian-built Kilo-class vessels, the Kharg, the Yunus, and the No for extended-range missions. It was, in fact, a U.S. fast-attack submarine firing a single Mk-48 torpedo that sank an Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean, the first submarine on-ship kill since World War II. Let me know what you think. Third, the swarms. Iran's IRGC Navy operates Zulfagar-class fast-attack boats, nimble, armed, and built for swarming tactics in confined waters. They also field the Bavar 2 flying boat, a craft that skims just above the water surface to reduce radar detection. And now they're adding unmanned surface vehicles, suicide drone boats, explosive-laden, GPS-guided, running at night when thermal detection is hardest. Since the conflict began on February 28, 2026, at least 16 ships have been struck in the region. At one point, 3,000 vessels and 20,000 crew members were trapped or affected across the Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. Here's what separates Iran's strategy from every conventional navy you've studied. The goal was never to win a sea battle. It was never to hold territory. The entire doctrine, built over 40 years, is called sea denial. The idea is this: you don't need to defeat the U.S. Navy. You need to make every ship that enters the strait calculate whether today is the day it hits a mine or catches a torpedo. Iran's Abu Mahdi cruise missile has a range of 1,000 kilometers, longer than the entire Persian Gulf. Its Hormuz 2 anti-ship ballistic missile is satellite-guided and designed to track and kill moving vessels at sea. Shore-based Kausar and Nasar-1 missiles can engage anything close to the Iranian coast. And Iran produces roughly 10,000 drones per month. Even after U.S. airstrikes destroyed hundreds of launchers and collapsed underground tunnel networks, IRGC footage released in late March 2026 called their visible arsenal only the tip of the iceberg. U.S. struck 9,000-plus targets across Iran under Operation Epic Fury. The USS Abraham Lincoln, CVN-72, a Nimitz-class nuclear carrier home-ported in San Diego, launched FA-18E Super Hornets and EA-18G Growlers day and night. ATACMS missiles sank multiple Iranian ships. Yet even with all that firepower, U.S. experts warned reopening the strait could take months, requiring underwater robots, laser-equipped helicopters, and elite Navy EOD divers placing charges on individual mines one by one. That is not a story about Iran losing. That is the story of asymmetric warfare working exactly as designed. Kharg Island is Iran's economic artery. Losing its military infrastructure hurts. But Iran's real weapon was never the island. It was the water around it, the mines beneath it, and the doctrine built on making certainty itself the casualty. The world's most powerful navy is still working to clear a strait, weeks after the strikes began. Think about that. Subscribe to Shipline for more naval breakdowns. We go deeper than any other channel, and we're not stopping. If this kind of real operational analysis is what you want more of, hit subscribe and ring that bell. Now tell me, do you think the strait gets fully reopened before summer?